Coming up tonight, power woes. North Andros residents now face a 4-hour load shedding schedule following that structural fire Monday morning, but BPL officials say a solution is only hours away. Plus, belle of the ball. It was a night of glitz and glamour at the Prime Minister's 50th Independence Legacy Ball Friday night. Our Jubilee Music has the highlights, and Click's All Bahamian Block Party went on without a hitch Friday night. Jane Joseph has the highlights in tonight's arts and entertainment segment as our news weekend starts now. Welcome to our news, the weekend edition, and thanks for joining us. I'm Berthany McDermott. Power woes continue in North Andros. Residents are now subject to a load-shedding schedule just a few days after a structural fire destroyed the power plant there. But Bahamas Power and Light officials say backup units are in place with more on the way to meet the demand until a new power station is built.
We have 2 containerized trailer units on the ground in North Andros, a 1.6 megawatt unit that has already been tied in and is supplying power to the grid. So we do have the residents on a 4-hour load shedding schedule.
Bahamas Power and Light Chief Operating Officer Tony Seymour says that 1.6 megawatt containerized unit will be tied in with a second 1.2 megawatt unit to supply all North Andros residents. She says a third unit is on its way to the island to act as a redundancy for the community. But how long will residents have to deal with load shedding?
Within another 24 to 48 hours, barring any unforeseen circumstances.
Early Monday morning, a structural fire at BPL's North Andros plant left those residents powerless for hours. At this point, officials are unable to attach a price tag to the damage. Works and Utilities Minister Alfred Sear says the Davis administration sees this as an opportunity.
From the government's perspective, we see this also as an opportunity to accelerate our commitment in the renewable energy space. That is, to put in place a solar facility that can give the community much more resilience, reduce over time the cost of electricity, and be consistent and lessen, of course, the carbon footprint.
Sears commended residents who stepped in when the fire happened. As for water supply to the area,
I also wish to commend the Water and Sewage Corporation, Ms. Miller, because the corporation took swift contingency measures to ensure that there was a continuous supply of potable water to the residents during this period.
Now to news from the crime beat. Law enforcement officers seizing over $120,000 worth of drugs in 2 separate incidents. In one incident, police tell us they confiscated 4 crocus sacks of suspected marijuana on Friday in the Bacardi Road area. The drugs have an estimated street value of $116,500. Earlier that day, the Bahamas Customs Department's K9 unit confiscated 4.5 pounds of suspected marijuana after searching a bin at a warehouse in Windsor Fields. The drugs are valued at $4,500 and were handed over to police. No arrests were made in any of these incidents. The marital rape issue has remained a much talked about topic, so we took to the streets to find out how some men feel about the issue. This resident says he believes it will be the cause of a lot of divorces.
If a person become abusive, trying to, male or female, trying to get sex from the partner, and they're hitting and stuff, then that's a whole different crime. So I don't believe it go that far. But I mean, the wife decided to make love, and somewhere in the middle she get mad, or I mean, quite finished, she want to start me, and I didn't, but not hitting or anything. And she said she going to report me. Then she could go to the pastor at the same time, or whoever, and say we could have a divorce at the same time, because I won't stay with somebody like that. So that's all that marital rape going to lead to, a lot of divorce.
Earlier this week, Law Reform and Revision Commissioner Dame Anita Allen said rape is rape no matter who the victim or perpetrator is. Another man says once a man and woman makes a commitment at the altar, it should be honored.
When you stand before the altar and getting married, you accept that your body is not your own and that we become one. All right? So how could I rape myself? You understand what I'm saying? See, you can't stand before the altar and say one thing before a church or whatever full of people and God, and then decide when it suits you, you're going to call it rape.
The Royal Bahamas Defence Force is about to get 4 new vessels at a cost of around $3.4 million, according to National Security Minister Wayne Munro. Munro says the new vessels will be paid for by funds allocated to replace the HMBS AD Hannah.
Where we committed in the previous budget year to replace the AD Hannah with a new flagship class vessel. And I'm happy to say that before I came here, the Commodore and his technical committee presented to me at the ministry the 3 bidders for that vessel, being namely Daman, an Indian shipyard, and an Israeli shipyard. And so we hope shortly to take that decision to Cabinet for Cabinet to select one of those.
As for the new vessels, Munro says the contracts have already been signed, adding the delivery of the vessels will be in stages over the next year. The last vessel is set to be delivered in November 2024.
That will up the assets available to the Royal Bahamas Defence Force to secure our borders and guard our heritage. The Defence Force continues to cooperate with our regional partners.
Bahamasair is seeking to explain the circumstances surrounding one of its passengers needing medical care while at the Fort Lauderdale International Airport. In a statement, the national flag carrier explains during Flight 204 on Friday, a passenger on board experienced a medical emergency. It added the in-flight service crew immediately responded to the situation, providing necessary assistance and ensuring the passenger's safety and well-being until medical professionals could assist. The statement follows a viral Facebook video with a woman who claimed to be on board the same flight. She criticized the crew's handling of the situation. Meantime, Bahamasair says the passenger was attended to promptly by the crew, who followed established protocols to stabilize the situation and provide immediate care. It said after the plane returned to the gate, the passenger was immediately transferred to the care of medical professionals for further evaluation and treatment. How do you know if your tour operator is licensed? Our Marlena Leonard spoke with a member of the Bahamas Excursion Operators Association about the push for more people to get licensed and how difficult it can be for a layperson to tell the difference.
It's summertime, the tourists are in, and the water is gorgeous. But after 2018's fatal boat explosion of the 4 Seas in the Bahamas, more people are asking, when it comes time to book an excursion, how can I tell if the excursion operator is licensed? Nicholas Pinder owns and operates Born Free Charters and is a member of the Bahamas Excursion Operators Association.
Unless the operator has it on their website to where they're a licensed and insured operator, there's not really a list that they can look for.
He says for now, the fastest way to tell a pleasure boat from a commercial boat is in the numbers.
When you're licensed to become a legal operator, they give you a NP number, which is New Providence, which we're based from, so every place would have their own abbreviation, but ours on New Providence is NP, and then you have 4 digits after that, not starting with a 0. If you have an NP and a 0 number, that means you're a pleasure boat operator, not a commercial operator.
But what are the differences between those licensed and unlicensed? The captain must hold a master's license, which requires a character certificate from the Royal Bahamas Defence Force, liability coverage, a business license, and finally, passing the Port Department inspections of the vessel's structural integrity, safety, and navigational equipment. President of the Bahamas Excursion Operators Association, Anthony Lascaris, advocates for a dated sticker or disc similar to car licensing. He tells us for now, there is no public registry that would display this information. Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, hundreds show up in red carpet attire for the Prime Minister's Legacy Ball Friday night. And who made the list for the special Golden Jubilee of Independence Awards? Find out when Our News Weekend returns.
At Doctors Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From Lamp Prepaid with free prime care visits and service line discounts, Lamp Insured with copay waivers and zero upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new Lamp Access, a free plan that offers 10% off lab, pharmacy, and imaging. Lamp has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now.
You're watching Our News Weekend. Welcome back. The Atlantis Imperial Ballroom came alive as 1,500 people attended the much-anticipated Prime Minister's Legacy Ball, including Dame Marguerite Pinling, who was dressed to impress in an iconic gown. Our Jamila Mizik was in the middle of it all.
Stunning gowns and tailored suits graced the white carpet. One of the most memorable moments of the night was shared between the guest of honor, Prime Minister Philip Davis, and Dame Marguerite Pinling, who was wearing the exact same dress she wore 50 years ago at the independence celebration in 1973. She and Prime Minister Davis shared a dance in honor of the late Sir Lyndon Pinling, the father of our nation. The invite-only ball saw a few familiar faces, like Ruby Ann Darling, the first Bahamian woman to register to vote. She shares this story about a newly independent Bahamas.
Letting the world know that we are the newest nation on the earth, and people were so excited as we waved our flags, and everywhere we went, we sang the national anthem. So that group was really the very first. We were the ambassadors, those students, and many of them are still here and can remember.
And the entertainers were also out, like Joel Ellis, also known as DJ Joey Jam. He's the son of the late Bahamian legend Franklin Count Bernardino Ellis and brother of Bahamian singer Nita.
My father was the internet, meaning that they used to send him all over the world, Germany, Spain, Greenland, Alaska, all over America, to perform, to promote tourism for the Bahamas. And bringing it forward, Nita did the same thing.
But of course, the guest list would not be complete without current and former politicians. We caught up with former Progressive Liberal Party MP Leslie Miller, who tells this story of Independence Night 50 years ago.
It was one of the happiest nights of my life that we got to get the British out of here. And I think we've come a progressive long way in this country over the last 50 years. I want to thank Sir Lyndon Pinling and Mr. Hanna, Sir Milo Butler, Carlton Francis, all the great warriors, especially Dame Doris Johnson, my two teachers on Mr. Francis, who helped to bring us where we are today.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Jamila Mizik.
Thanks for that, Jamila. Acting on recommendations from the Prime Minister, Governor General C.A. Smith announcing the individuals selected for the special Golden Jubilee of Independence Awards. The awards recognize their outstanding contributions to the Bahamas in various spheres, covering pre- and post-independence. A statement says the award is conceptually similar to the 1988 awards on the Silver Jubilee of Independence, except this award includes people who are to be honored posthumously. The special Golden Jubilee Award will be formally presented at a public ceremony later this year. Now, these awards are different from the National Honors, which will be announced on July 10th, 2023. Some of the honorees include former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, Dame Janet Bostwick, the late Paul Adderley, Dame Anita Allen, the late Sir Milo Butler, and the late Cleophas Adderley Jr. If you're planning on attending the Golden Jubilee Ecumenical Service, Military Tattoo and Cultural Show, then you may be pleased to know that additional parking has been allocated for the event goers. Landscape architect for the Clifford Park redevelopment project, Evan Cartwright, explains.
This is the 50th, and we are expecting a much larger crowd than before. So what we have done already is designated a lot more parking opportunities. It's about 4 or 5 different spaces that we have allocated for the overflow of parking. That will be controlled by officers and personnel. We have established a tram opportunity as well for persons who want to park.
And he says lighting won't be an issue.
With the upgrade of the park, because as you would have noticed, we've installed a lot more lights, so the entire property will be properly illuminated so that you have a good visual of the activities and the procession that's taking place on the park on the Independence Night. The program will be exceptionally well, I'm told, and so we're looking forward to get every aspect of it illuminated for the area, including of security purposes. The parking area is well lit. We've done an extensive revamp of the western parking lot. When the visitors, when they'll come and see, they'll see the new access and the new features that we've added to it. Lighting, security is top notch what we've gone for this. We rolled out the red carpet for this one.
When Our News Weekend comes back from the break, a look inside the Junkanoo Museum at the Nassau Cruise Port and a skills-based summer camp launches in the Fort Charlotte constituency. We have the details when Our News Weekend returns.
March on, Bahama.
This is Our News Weekend. Welcome back. The United States demonstrating its commitment to CARICOM by sending its most senior diplomat to meet with regional leaders during this week's meetings. From Port of Spain, Peter Richards brings us the details.
The United States on Wednesday demonstrated its commitment to CARICOM by sending its most senior diplomat to meet with regional leaders as the bloc celebrated its 50th anniversary.
Countries across the region have to work together, and every member has to do their part. I think that's never been more true than it is today, not only for CARICOM members, but also for the United States.
Blinken's delegation also included the minority leader in the U.S. Congress, Hakeem Jeffries, and Blinken restated Washington's commitment to helping the region to deal with some of the most pressing issues, including the impact of climate change. Earlier on Wednesday, regional leaders met with President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, who said the meeting provided an opportunity for him to urge CARICOM to seek a closer relationship with Africa.
The African diaspora, which is known as the sixth region of the African Union, has particularly called for deeper cooperation with the Caribbean, and this call has been reciprocated. But I want to suggest that it is past time to go beyond declarations of intent. We need to come together in real terms and focus on concrete initiatives which address the challenges that nations like ours face today.
Reporting for Our News, I am Peter Richards in Port of Spain, Trinidad.
Nassau Cruise Port CEO Mike Moorer Jr. says his team collaborated with experts on the historical significance, meaning, and cultural significance of our biggest expression of culture. His comments came as the Bahamas Museum of Junkanoo officially opened at the cruise port. As it turns out, the location selected for the museum was no coincidence.
With millions of visitors arriving in Nassau annually, we wanted to place a special part of our culture and heritage steps away from the busiest tourism gateway in the Bahamas, and that gateway being right behind me. And the fact is that visitors to our Bahamas are in search of authentic experiences, and our own Junkanoo Museum most certainly will satisfy that need.
The museum opening included a Junkanoo Rush Out, a performance from the National Youth Choir, and spoken word from Arlene Nash Ferguson. Deputy Prime Minister and Tourism Minister Chester Cooper says he's proud of the balance between education and entertainment for both tourists and Bahamians.
And indeed, this museum should be a celebration that we are all excited about. And I call this edutainment because I believe this is not just going to be entertainment, this is going to be education as well. And I know that this will be a great showcase, but I hope that we will come here and be able to enjoy Junkanoo 101. And I hope that our tourists will be able to enjoy the dance, they will be able to participate actively and interactively in the culture and this experience that we celebrate that we call Junkanoo.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, find out how the weather will shape up this holiday weekend and find out how the Fort Charlotte constituency is making skill-based learning fun for youngsters this summer. That's coming up when Our News Weekend returns. Welcome back to Our News Weekend. School's out, and that means summer camps are in. Camp Jubilee in the Fort Charlotte constituency began this week, and camp coordinator Dr. Neveline Evans says the skills-based camp will make learning fun for the youngsters.
What is exciting about this camp is the types of activities our teachers and instructors engage the children in. They're not the traditional classroom activities. The children are using their hands more, they're more engaged in discussion, they go out on field trips, there's outside learning, and so basically the camp is a non-traditional learning environment.
Fort Charlotte Member of Parliament Alfred Sears speaking to the importance of the camp's impact in the community.
For 24 years, we have sponsored every year the Fort Charlotte Summer Camp. And we have seen young people come through the camp as young campers in primary school. As they go into high school, they serve as facilitators and go on to BTBI, UB, or university abroad. And we have so many success stories.
We had scorching temperatures this week, but can it get any hotter? Let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next few days. Scores of people showed up to Calic's All-Bahamian Block Party. The event, one of many leading up to the 50th independence celebrations, featured one of the Bahamas' staple bands, Visage. Our Jane Joseph recaps the excitement on Charlotte Street.
Calic took the party to Charlotte Street with their all-Bahamian block party as the 50th Independence celebrations climax, drawing hundreds of Bahamians eager to celebrate the country's milestone. Nothing makes a party like good food, drinks, and good music, and there was no shortage. Attendees were entertained by DJs and the iconic Visage band as they performed many popular hits, including the new Bahamian anthem, Happy Anniversary Bahamas, much to the crowd's delight, drawing a reaction akin to a revival service. Attendee Darren Price says he enjoyed the opportunity to show his Bahamian pride.
I'm deeply patriotic. 50 years is a milestone, right? We've come so far. To be at this particular juncture right now at 50 years speaks volumes. We're having a great time. We've come from leaps and bounds. And I'm just happy to be a part of this, happy to be Bahamian, and happy to see another 50 years hopefully. Atlanta native Brandy Grow is here on her second vacation to the island and says the celebrations are a great addition to her stay.
I have only been here for 12 hours and I've had a great time already. Celebrating American independence makes me want to be more independent. So I'm having a wonderful time here tonight with all of my music, the great drinks, and the smelling of the great food. It's been a wonderful time.
Bahamians need no excuse to party, but this is indeed a moment to celebrate, and not many things say celebration like Junkanoo. The One Family Junkanoo group brought their two-string energy to Charlotte Street to take the event over the top. As we approach 50 years of independence, we look forward to more opportunities for Bahamians to unite and celebrate our common ties. Reporting for Our News Weekend Arts and Entertainment, I'm Gene Joseph.
Thanks, Jean, and that sure did look like lots of fun. Thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Berthany McDermott. Have a wonderful Independence weekend, everyone.